Hey everybody! Back in April of 2018, I made a 3-part series about the edgy short film I made in high school that almost got me expelled. And then of course, the Susaning happened and all of my videos were deleted. And I feel as though these ones about my teenage short films are pretty important to the Simeon Jimmy canon. So I've decided to re-upload this 3-part series as one big video. So if you've never seen it before, here you go. Hopefully you enjoy. And if you have seen it before, I mean, it's been like 2 years, so it's not gonna kill you to see it pop up in your sub feed again. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and expect some new stuff pretty soon. Here's some old stuff. This channel has been focusing a lot on amateur films so far this year. In February, we reviewed the Ugandan masterpiece Who Killed Captain Alex. In March, we conducted our first annual Mumkey short film contest. And now in April, we've saved the worst for last. It is with great displeasure that today I share with all of you a terrible, horrible, cringy, edgelord-tastic 23-minute short film I made in high school that almost got me expelled. A horrendous blight on the face of humanity created by the edgiest 17-year-old in the world. A film titled Vincent and Duane Seek Vengeance. It was essentially my own version of the Columbine Massacre put to film. The story of an edgelord school shooter wannabe who corrupts the mind of a lonely boy so that the two of them can enact righteous judgment against the society that had rejected them. And if you're thinking, oh, Mumkey, this sounds a lot like Elliot Rodger. Well, nice fucking try, but Elliot Rodger's massacre was in 2014, and I made this shit in 2013. And the cringiest part of all, I made this short film to show at my high school's film club that I started. Yeah, I made a film about school shooters and then premiered it at my high school with teachers in the room. Not only was I an edgelord, but I think I might have been fucking retarded. So, before we dive into the meat of this film, I think I'm gonna need to get a few drinks in me. Let's go ahead and make it a drinking game. If you're feeling suicidal, take a shot every time something cringy happens. By the end of Act 2, you'll be dead from fucking alcohol poisoning. The film is composed of 3 acts, with each one cringier than the last. The first act, and arguably the best of the trilogy, was called Duane Needs a Prom Date. The film begins with the titular Duane walking into a professional dating service so that they can help him find a date for prom. You might recognize the actor for Duane as the guy from the other cringy videos I made in high school, The God and Jesus Show.
God! Jesus! You finally came to answer my prayers!
In The God and Jesus Show, he played an ugly outcast who couldn't find a girlfriend, and now in this short film, he plays an ugly outcast who can't find a girlfriend. Is it possible to bully somebody through typecasting? Because if so, I think I was a huge fucking bully. Speaking of bullying, Duane informs Mr. Birchmeier, who is being played by a very handsome 17-year-old who probably has a massive cock, that he needs them to find him a date for prom by Saturday, to which Birchmeier laughs and then mocks Duane's appearance.
I need a date for prom on Saturday, and all the girls I asked said no. I'm not surprised. Will you help me find a date for prom? Kid, this is a dating service. We're not miracle workers.
Oh yeah, and in the top left of the shot, you can see the lighting umbrella we were using to make the windowless room in our high school look less like an unescapable prison. And for some reason, I didn't bother to crop it out. Haha, boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
The advertisement specifically says, we'll help find anybody a date. Well, yes, as in any person, not an ugly subhuman like you.
Birchmeier tells Duane that their company won't be able to find somebody as ugly as him a date in such a short time, so Duane threatens that his father will sue the company if they fail.
My father is the best lawyer in the country, and if you don't find me a prom date for Saturday, like your advertisement promises, I'm gonna sue you for all you're worth.
Birchmeier informs Duane that even under threat of legal action, the possibility of finding him a prom date is slim to none, to which Duane becomes very sad. And the background music for this part is the top video you find on YouTube when you Google sad violin music, and no, I wasn't using it ironically like everybody else does these days. I actually made the conscious choice to include it in the film as a genuine piece of background music.
Oh, come on, kid, be fair! We'd be lucky to find a girl to date you in the next 4 months, let alone 4 days. Can you at least try? Please! I'm sorry I was threatening. It's just, you've been so alone lately. I haven't even had my first kiss. I was hoping I could have some fun and have a date for my senior prom. Is that too much to ask? Can you please help me? Please?
Given this emotional appeal, Birchmeier agrees that they'll at least try to find him a date, and Duane hands over the matchmaker survey that he filled out. Birchmeier then reads Duane's full name, and the scene transitions to a boardroom at the dating company.
Alright, Duane Rogers. I will try my damnedest to find you a prom date. Gentlemen, thank you for coming here on such short notice. Now, I know we usually keep these client meetings small, but for this one I figured we need all the manpower we could get.
What's the big deal, Roger?
Did you catch it? Did you fucking catch that shit? Here, I'll play it again.
Duane Rogers.
What's the big deal, Roger?
Yeah, that's right. Both characters are named fucking Roger. Duane Rogers and Roger Birchmeier. And both of these names are revealed within 10 seconds of each other. There are over 10,000 common names in the English language, and for some reason I gave 2 of the characters the same name completely by accident. In this film, about a kid who goes on a shooting and kills the girls that rejected him, that I made in 2013, a full year before the Elliot Rodgers shooting. What in the fuck? I'm the guy who did this, and even I think it's a valid conspiracy theory. Also, what kind of retarded writer gives 2 characters the same name? Haha, boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder. Anyway, Birchmeier is having trouble expressing to his colleagues why their new client will be especially difficult, so he decides to project an image of the boy to let the picture do the talking for him. This leads to a slightly humorous scene of everybody reacting to the photo, which ultimately is probably just another example of me using this film to bully one of my friends. Although, to be fair, he's the one who selected the picture that we used, so I guess you could say he was complicit in his own bullying? I don't know. Just watch the fucking clip.
Our new client is, I'll just let his picture do the talking.
And in case you were wondering, yes, that's my old buddy Biggs. He's appeared on this channel a number of times, the first being when I tried to make him drink bleach in my Two Broke Girls anime review.
Biggs, I made a smoothie for you, Biggs. You want a smoothie, buddy? It's really good.
What is it?
It's a smoothie. Try it.
I'm really scared.
Nah, it's good for you, dude. What's it taste like? What's it taste like, Biggs? Biggs, what's it taste like?
I don't want it.
What is it? What's it taste like,
I don't
Biggs?
know.
Biggs, what's the smoothie taste like?
As you can plainly see, I treat my friends very well, especially when I'm pointing a camera at them. The men in the boardroom assume that Birchmeier is pulling a practical joke on them, but he assures them that this isn't the case and then pulls out Duane's matchmaker survey to read some of the facts Duane wrote about himself that were going to make it even harder to find him a date. I guess this is sort of where the satire-ish elements of the film start to appear, where it's obvious that an edgy, lonely 17-year-old wrote the script to make fun of the types of things that he assumed girls look for in a guy. Like, for example, the survey says Duane doesn't play football, therefore everybody reacts as though it will now be impossible to find a girl to date him. I don't fucking know. It's just fucking sad. And maybe kind of funny.
Now then, it gets worse. I would like to read to you all a few choice things from his matchmaker survey. First of all, he doesn't play football.
What?
Impossible.
That's crazy.
Secondly, he thinks that it's fair for girls to pay half the bill when going on dates.
What? Ridiculous. Oh my god.
Oh boy. Thirdly, he isn't a douchebag.
At the revelation that Duane isn't a douchebag, the men in the boardroom lose their fucking minds. And I do actually still kind of find this part funny.
He isn't a douchebag.
It then transitions to the final scene of Act 1, taking place on the stage at my high school because I didn't know where the fuck else to film it. We see that Birchmeier and one of his associates has brought Duane here, and then Birchmeier explains that they've found Duane a whole assortment of women, and it's up to him to choose which one he wants to go to prom with. Birchmeier joins his associate in the audience, and they send in the first girl.
What are we gonna do?
Don't worry, I've got this covered. Send her in, Linda!
Hi, my name's Alyssa.
That's right, the girl's name was Alyssa, which is also the same name as the girl Mumkey had a crush on and then murdered in Mumkey's anime reviews. Why do I keep reusing that name? I don't fucking know. I've actually never met a person named Alyssa in my entire life. Birchmeier's associate recognizes that Alyssa is Birchmeier's sister, and this is where we learn about Birchmeier's deceptive plan.
Wait, isn't that your sister?
I told her I'd give her $100 if she pretended to like this kid and went to prom with him.
So now the plan is in place. Alyssa just has to pretend to like Duane and everything will work out fine. But of course, that's not what happens, and instead I took this film as the opportunity to satirically point out more reasons why I thought girls didn't like me.
So, what do you do in your spare time?
Not much. Reading and writing, I guess.
Yeah? Any sports or anything?
No, I don't play sports.
Evidently, I was under the impression that girls only like guys who play sports. Or maybe I was just being ironic about it. Again, I honestly can't remember what the fuck I was thinking when I made this shit. After finding out Duane's video game preferences include Final Fantasy and Pokemon, she decides the plan isn't worth $100 and she bails.
Well, what else do you like?
Video games, I guess.
Oh, like Call of Duty and Mario?
No, like Final Fantasy and Pokemon.
Okay, that's it, Roger. I'm done. He's just so ugly and weird.
Damn it, Alyssa, get back here! We had a deal!
Luckily, Birchmeier prepared for this for some reason, and he invited both of his Mexican housekeepers as well. This leads to mariachi music as the two girls I knew who could speak Spanish walk in, berate Duane in Spanish for being ugly, and walk out.
Send in the next one, Linda!
Who's that?
My housekeeper.
¿Para qué mierda me trajiste acá con este feo? Tengo cosas que hacer, ¿sabes?
And who's that? My other housekeeper.
How many of those do you have?
Now, if you look closely at this part, when Birchmeier's associate says, "How many of those do you have?" you can see me mouthing his line. And that's the only take of this shot that we did, so it was in the final film. Boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Que quiero hablar contigo, eres tan feo, eres más peor que todo el mundo que he visto.
Now, I didn't know this until I uploaded the film to my second channel back in January, but evidently the two Spanish-speaking actresses have tremendously different accents. Several comments pointed out that the first actress had a thick Argentinian accent, which is true because she was the foreign exchange student at my school that year who I somehow convinced to be in my video. But honestly, to me all Spanish sounds the same, so I didn't even realize that my hilarious Mexican housekeeper joke had been completely undercut by one of the actresses obviously not being Mexican. Boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder. And now we come to the dramatic end of Act 1 where Duane learns that there are no more girls waiting backstage and that he'd been rejected by all of them.
Damn, that was my last one.
What's the plan now?
I don't know, let me think.
Is that it? Are there any other girls?
No, Duane, that's it. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Yup, you heard that right. I had 3 lines of dialogue in a row saying, "That's it." As if my dialogue didn't sound clunky and unrealistic enough, I've got that shit in there too. Boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
That's it. Even a professional company couldn't find me a date. I'm truly gonna be alone forever. Might as well just kill myself.
I feel horrible. Don't you think we should do something?
Like what?
Let's go get him and explain that there are more important things in life than girls, and that a person doesn't need to find a date to find happiness.
That's not our job.
I'll admit, I still find the smash cut to credits after this tragically dark ending to be really funny. You can see the seeds of my dark comedy writing style sprouting here all the way back in 2013. Feeling depressed and rejected, Duane declares that he's going to kill himself and walks away. Birchmeier wonders if they should help him, and his associate nonchalantly says it isn't their job. It's probably the funniest and best part of this entire short film. And this, of course, isn't the end of Duane's story. It's only the beginning. After all of that cringe and autism, this was only Act 1 of a 3-act story. And believe it or not, this was the least cringy and least bad of the 3 parts. The next part is titled Richie McDonald Brings an Atheist to Church, with me playing the part of the atheist, and it might be the worst thing I've ever made in my life. Now, I can't handle all this cringe and autism at once, so I'm gonna give us all a little break. We'll continue breaking down this horrible, horrible short film in Part 2. Act 2 of my short film is titled Richie McDonald Brings an Atheist to Church, and in this part, we take a break from Duane's story and introduce the character he'll team up with in Act 3. And no, I'm not talking about the titular Richie McDonald, I'm talking about the character played by me, Vincent the Atheist. Vincent is the one character from my past work that I've always thought about bringing back because he's just so edgy and obnoxious that I think he'd fit in great with the climate of YouTube in 2018. The film begins with a church pastor named Goodhue shaking hands with each member of his congregation as they stroll in for Sunday morning service. And you might notice, we're filming this in an actual fucking church. Yeah, I can't believe it either. For some reason, the pastor at my grandma's church gave us permission to film there one Saturday morning. They just left the fucking door unlocked and nobody was there to keep an eye on us. And that's probably a good thing, because I don't think we could have gotten away with filming this script if a member of the church was there observing us. Then Richie McDonald comes in, who you might recognize as Birchmeier's associate in Act 1. But it's a different character being played by the same actor, because I didn't have too many friends who knew how to fucking talk on camera. Pastor Goodhue greets Richie, and Richie explains that he's nervous because he brought a very special friend to church with him.
Pastor Goodhue. Richie McDonald, good evening, my boy. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too. I brought my friend Vincent with me tonight to youth group.
Excellent. That's wonderful. I can't wait to meet him.
Well, here's the thing, Pastor Goodhue. My friend Vincent, he's an atheist.
Oh yeah! For some fucking reason, this act, and this act alone, has in-studio audience reactions. Like a laugh track, but instead they're always giving shocked reactions and going, oh. And I have no idea why. I guess I thought it would be funny to have a sound effect where people are reacting negatively to the existence of an atheist, but I just introduced that I had 6 extras playing the other people at church. So why didn't I just film them reacting to shit rather than inserting canned audience responses? That would have actually been funny. Richie says he brought an atheist to church, and then we get a reaction shot from the congregation of everybody looking worried and scared or something. I don't know. It's still funnier than my short film randomly becoming a television sitcom for literally one scene. Pastor Goodhue assures Richie that it'll be okay, and then we're introduced to Vincent the Atheist, who is being played by a very handsome 17-year-old who probably has a massive cock. In typical atheist fashion, Vincent is decked out in a plaid jacket, Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt, black beanie, and tattered up blue jeans. Oh, and he's also like 5 fucking feet tall, which explains why he hates God so much. As Vincent walks in, he gives his first of many lines about how religion is stupid.
House of God? More like House of Stupid.
Vincent, this is Pastor Goodhue.
Pastor Goodhue? More like Pastor Badhue.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Vincent. Please, take a seat and we'll get started.
So, now that both of Vincent's lines of dialogue thus far have proven that he's an obnoxious asshole who just says horrible shit to piss people off, let's dive into a bit of film theory here, folks. What is this film trying to say about atheists? Is it that atheists are all stupid assholes while Christians are kind and forgiving? That might be your initial impression, but the fact of the matter is, when I wrote and directed this film, I myself was an atheist, and I still am to this day. So, what was my thought process here? Was this meant to be a parody of how I thought Christian people viewed atheists? Honestly, I have no fucking idea. There are so many choices I made for this film barely even 5 years ago that I have no idea what I was thinking when I made them. Pretty much the next 3 full minutes of the film consist of Pastor Goodhue carrying out his standard church service while Vincent interrupts him to say horrible shit, only to be met with boos from the in-studio audience.
Everybody, please bow your heads for a word of prayer. Dear God.
Dear God? More like, dear imaginary friend.
Please help them in their time of need. Amen.
Amen. Not a woman. Because women are second-rate citizens to men.
Vincent, stop!
Then we get to the part where they pass around the offering plate and everybody chips in $1. And here's the fucked up part. The plate and the money were not our props. We found the plate full of money in the church that had been left unlocked and unoccupied so that I could come film my atheist video. Now don't worry, we didn't steal any of the money, but for some reason I found it very strange that they had so much trust in this group of teenagers who they didn't even know.
I'm not giving my parents' hard-earned money away to help fund your holy wars.
Vincent, this money is going to missionaries so they can take a trip to Haiti to build new homes for earthquake victims.
Earthquake victims? That's what they get for living in Haiti anyway. If they didn't want to get hit by earthquakes, they'd live in America.
The next part is where Vincent goes too far and Pastor Goodhue has had enough and kicks him out. And this is also where my actual knowledge of the Bible comes into play. So gather round, kids, for a quick monkey Bible lesson. As you probably know, there are a lot of sins listed in the Bible. You've got your 10 Commandments, you've got all the retarded shit in Leviticus. The book is just chock full of rules you gotta live your life by to be a good Christian. But there's always the cop-out of forgiveness. No matter what rule you break, if you kill a man, if you lie, if you rape... Rape isn't one of the 10 Commandments? Huh. Well, okay. It doesn't matter, because if you repent, and if you pray about it, and if you ask God for forgiveness, He'll always forgive you, and you can still go to heaven no matter what. Except for one rule. There is one unforgivable sin in the Bible, and if you commit it, you cannot go to heaven when you die. And boy howdy is Vincent about to commit that sin.
Today we'll be discussing the connection between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit? More like, ugly gay spirit.
Now you're probably wondering, what the fuck? What sin did he commit? Well, according to Jesus himself in the book of Matthew, and I tell you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the age to come. So there you go. The one unforgivable sin in Christianity that will guarantee a one-way ticket to hell is talking shit about the Holy Spirit. Which means if God is real, then this stupid fucking short film I made in high school just guaranteed my soul to an eternity of damnation. Oh, you thought your short film was bad because the script was poor and the audio was horrible? Well, my short film was so bad it damned my soul to hell. In response to this unforgivable sin, Pastor Goodhue kicks Vincent out of the church.
Alright, that's it. I was okay when you made fun of my name. I was okay when you made fun of prayer. I was even okay when you made fun of the offering plate. But making fun of the Holy Spirit, that's where I draw the line. Vincent, you've got to go.
Fine. I've got a school shooting to go plan anyway.
Vincent leaves, Pastor Goodhue returns to his podium, and that's when the twist of Act 2 kicks in.
Well then.
Pastor Goodhue, I am very disappointed in you.
So, God shows up and tells Pastor Goodhue he's ashamed of him for not trying harder to reach out to Vincent, and Goodhue runs off to fetch him so he can try again. And I'm just gonna let the film do the talking for what happens next.
You should have tried harder to reach out to that boy. I'm so ashamed.
God, I'm sorry. Please, give me another chance. I'll go get him.
What do you want with me now?
Vincent, I'd like to present an old friend of mine, God.
God? You're not real. I don't believe in you.
Well, I am real, my son.
Not for long.
Oh my God! You killed God!
I'm God now. Give me all your money.
And that's it! That's how Act 2 of my school shooter short film ends. Vincent the Atheist kills God with a sucker punch, becomes God, and then tells everybody to give him their money. I guess at the very least, you could say my storytelling was ambitious. So now you're probably wondering, okay, Act 1 ends with Duane being depressed and alone, planning on killing himself, and Act 2 ends with Vincent the Atheist becoming God. How in the fuck does this culminate in Act 3 with these two characters teaming up to commit a school shooting? Well, you'll just have to tune in to Part 3, where we wrap up our review of this horrible, horrible bullshit, and I tell the story of how this film almost got me expelled from school. As you may recall, Act 1 of my short film ended in Duane marching towards suicide, and Act 2 ended with Vincent the Atheist killing God. And now, we're at the third and final act, the act by which my short film earns its name, Vincent and Duane Seek Vengeance. And if you thought Act 2 was edgy with all the atheist shit, well, you better buckle up, buckaroos! It's about to get so edgy that even I want to vomit. Act 3 begins with Vincent sporting his typical coconut head haircut and plaid jacket, sitting sad and alone on a park bench. A real change in attitude from when we last saw him. Then the sad and lonely Duane wanders over and approaches our atheist anti-hero. The duo recognizes each other's sorrow, and this begins a conversation.
What's wrong with you?
That's none of your business.
Okay, sorry. You seem sad. I'm sad too.
What are you sad about?
Duane gives us a quick recap of what happened in his story, and then Vincent tells us about everything that happened after he killed God.
I'm sorry, man. I'm lonely too.
Why are you lonely?
It all started a couple weeks ago when I killed God. And then I decided I was the new God. And I told everybody to give me their money. Which they did. But then I got too greedy. I told everybody they have to love me more than they love their parents. More than they love their husbands and wives. More than they love their kids. And they didn't like that. So I got angry. And I told them I was gonna kill them all in a flood. And then they hated me. They made me an outcast. Now I'm more of an outcast than ever.
Alright, two things about that speech. First of all, you might not have noticed it, but on that bench in the background is all of my camera gear that I didn't realize was in the shot. Haha, boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder. And then there's the contents of the speech itself. I think the point I was trying to make was that Vincent is a huge fucking asshole as proven by his scenes in the church, so naturally when he became God, he continued being a huge fucking asshole, and it just so happens that all the asshole shit he did as God is the same exact stuff that God himself did in the Bible, which I guess was my way of cinematically saying that God is an asshole. So yeah, there you go. I finally figured out what the fuck I was thinking when I wrote this character. Anyway, the plot relevance of this speech is that everybody grew to hate Vincent and now he's as sad and lonely as ever.
Why were you so mean to them? Sounds like you sorta got what you had coming.
What did I do wrong? I was their God and they didn't do what I said. They deserved to suffer.
I guess so.
Vincent and Duane then sit together in silence for an unnecessarily long amount of time before Duane comes up with the bright idea that the two of them can stop being lonely if they just become friends. Vincent accepts this idea, and the closest thing to a wholesome moment in the entire film comes to an end so that maximum edginess can follow right behind.
You know, both can stop being so lonely. Just became friends.
You and me, friends? You know, that sounds like a good idea. My name's Vincent, by the way.
My name's Duane.
We then get some establishing shots of the inside of my grandma's garage. I thought it would be the perfect location for Vincent's clubhouse since it's all dirty and looks like shit, but of course my dad keeps his bright and shiny red boat there, and I had no way of getting it out on the day we were filming, so for no fucking reason Vincent has a nice boat sitting in his murky lair. Haha, boy, I sure do hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Well, here it is, Duane. My hangout. I do lots of cool atheist stuff in here. You know, eating babies, watching child pornography, worshipping Satan, all the normal stuff.
So the joke there is that typical atheist activities include eating babies, watching child porn, and worshiping Satan. Which I guess is a fine joke, but keep in mind I made this for my high school's film club and showed it to an audience of students and teachers. Just thinking about it now makes my stomach hurt. And in case it wasn't obvious, yes, Film Club was pretty much canceled a few days after this video premiered. But we're not even to the worst of it yet. Duane then elaborates on the humiliation he feels from being rejected by girls, and Vincent sympathizes with him with a story of how he faced similar rejection when he came out to his family as being atheist.
So what was up with that company thing you were telling me about?
I applied for a dating service to try and find me a date for prom for Saturday, but it didn't work out at all.
Why didn't you just find a date for yourself?
I tried. All the girls said no. One of them even laughed at me.
She did?
Yeah. She laughed, and the entire hallway laughed. Never been so humiliated in my life.
I know how you feel. When I came out to my family about being atheist, my grandma laughed at me and told me I was a huge idiot. Then she kept going on and on about how God is all around me and how I'm gonna burn in hell if I don't start thinking straight. It was awful.
Man, I know how you feel. Grandmas aren't supposed to be like that.
Now, thankfully, this speech isn't as cringy as it could have been. In reality, my family didn't give a single fuck about me being atheist because none of them are particularly religious themselves, so I wasn't basing this part of the character off of my real life or anything. If that had been the case, and I was somehow getting back at my family with this movie, then I'd probably have already killed myself from complete and utter embarrassment. After giving this speech, Vincent realizes how unfair life is and that guys like him and Duane have to suffer while everyone else gets to enjoy themselves. And the speech I give sounds eerily similar to stuff you'd find in Elliot Rodger's manifesto, which again is bizarre, as this was filmed a full year before Elliot Rodger wrote his manifesto.
Duane, isn't it strange that other people can make our lives so miserable and get away with it? I mean, we're so sad and lonely, and they're out there having fun. That girl who laughed at you, she's probably getting ready for prom right now. And my grandma, she's probably watching a soap opera and having the time of her life. How is that fair?
It isn't fair.
Vincent then becomes inspired and decides it's about time they got revenge on the world for treating them so poorly. He fetches a pair of guns that he just happens to have for some reason, and he starts trying to convince Duane that they should seek justice together.
Look, I've got one for you and one for me. We can get revenge on everybody who made our lives so miserable.
But we'll get caught and go to prison.
Prison? Who cares about prison? How could prison be any worse than their lives right now? I mean, what do we really have to live for out here anyway?
Nothing.
That's right, nothing. So let's give ourselves something to live for. Let's get revenge on all of our enemies.
So the duo agrees to go out in a blaze of glory by killing everybody who made their lives miserable. And then we get a time skip, and suddenly Vincent is wearing a fucking black cloak for some reason. It's not only edgy, it's fucking retarded and embarrassing in every possible way. Was it an ironic choice? Boy, I sure do fucking hope it was. I sure do hope it was. Vincent and Duane go their separate ways to get revenge and agree to meet back at the hangout once they've slaughtered their prey. This leads to a scene of my grandma, my very wonderful and caring grandma who has been putting up with my dumb bullshit for decades now, cleaning the dishes, and then my younger cousin runs in and they have a dialogue.
Grandma, can you steal my toy again?
Well, did you ask for it back?
Yes, she said no.
Well, honey, you need to go find a better toy to play with. That way it'll make her jealous. Do you understand?
Yeah!
It wasn't bad enough that I forced my friends to be in this edgy piece of shit movie, but I dragged my family into it too. I'm pretty sure my cousin was like 8 years old or some shit. Anyway, next up comes the, oh man. I really don't want to show this. I just, it's not flattering for me in the least. I make some choices with my face and with zooming in, and yeah. It's not the best look for me. Just watch it, I guess.
Six Semper Tyrannis! Serves you right, you old hag!
What did you do to my grandma?
Yup! That's the face of Monkey Jones! And you people wonder why I wear a mask in most of my videos. Oh wait, no you don't! You always call me fucking hideous! But you know what? At least I had no shame. Which I guess isn't really a compliment, is it? Fuck it. So Vincent shoots his cousin and runs off, and then we see what Duane has been up to. Believe it or not, I actually got into a girl's bedroom in high school. But it wasn't to have sex, it was to film her getting killed in my edgy movie. I think the scene was supposed to come off as edgy and comedic, but it's just uncomfortable. I think the actress did too good of a job at being fearful for her life, but considering the fact that she was home alone with me and the guy playing Duane, maybe she wasn't acting after all.
Oh my gosh, Becca, did you see her today? Yeah, a ponytail, 2 days in a row. Gosh, I cannot believe some people. Oh no, it would not surprise me if she was pregnant. I mean, come on. Hang on, someone's knocking on my door. Duane? What are you doing in my house?
Remember when you laughed at me when I asked you to prom?
Yeah, so?
Oh! Well, who's laughing now?
I'm so sorry. Please don't hurt me. I'll go to prom with you, I promise.
Okay. I'll pick you up at 7.
As it turns out, the actress had no idea what she had signed up for, because when she saw the final product, she was fucking pissed. I mean, mad. She straight up told me if she knew what the film was about, she wouldn't have agreed to be in it. Which really, I think is more of her problem. I mean, what the fuck did she think the movie was about when her scene is her getting fucking murdered in her bedroom? I think she's actually pursuing acting now or something, so hopefully one day I can add this to her IMDb page. And finally, we come to the end of this unwatchable horseshit. The boys meet up at their rendezvous point, but Duane is being followed by the police. There are a few key things to mention about what happens next, but I'll just play the scene first.
What the hell is going on?
I got caught trying to escape! There's cops everywhere!
What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I'll tell you what we do, Duane. Listen up, coppers! You're wasting your time by coming here! You know why? Because I'm the author of my own destiny! I play by my own rules, and if you think you're gonna take me down, then you're out of your mind! Duane, I love you.
Alright, the first thing that I think is worth noting is that Vincent's final speech was inspired by the episode of Survivor where Brandon Hance loses his mind.
I'm the author of my fate, buddy. I'm the author of my fate.
Because I'm the author of my own destiny!
You would think my shooter's final speech would be inspired by Columbine or Virginia Tech, but no, it was just the most recent episode of Survivor. And then we've got Vincent killing himself, but not before confessing his love for Duane and kissing him. I originally wanted the kiss to be on the lips, but the actor playing Duane was not having it, so I had to settle for the cheek. And you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but I have absolutely no idea what I was thinking here. So I guess Vincent is secretly gay for Duane? What does that say about his character? I can't say, but my teachers who tried to get me expelled had a couple ideas. Anyway, the film ends with what I think is a pretty comedic moment of everything getting louder and louder and Duane yelling, "What the fuck?" But then it cuts the credits before he finishes the word. And that's all, folks! The end of my edgy 23-minute short film. But that's not the end of the story. Because as I've been alluding to this whole time, I showed this during film club, and it almost got me expelled. After the film's premiere during film club, I got the same lukewarm reception from the audience that I got from all my other work. Nobody ever gave a fuck because my films were all awful and everybody knew it. But then, the next day at school, first thing in the morning, I hear over the intercom,
"Mumkey Jones, please report to the guidance office."
And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Usually when I hear my name over the intercom, it's because I'm being called to the principal's office to get yelled at for whatever dumb shit I said during lunch the previous day, but never before had I been called to the guidance office. You know how I've spent this whole video series saying I don't know what I was thinking when I was making this film? Well, it turns out the guidance counselor, my English teacher who ran film club, and the principal of the school all thought that they knew exactly what my film was about. And they literally thought I was planning a school shooting and also wanted to kill myself. They set me down in the guidance office and one of them blocked the door like I was gonna try and make a run for it. And the guidance counselor says to me, "Mumkey, we want to talk to you about the film you presented in film club yesterday. It has us concerned for your mental health and the safety of your classmates. Tell us, are you depressed?" And now I'm thinking, fuck. Of course I was depressed, and it was pretty obvious to just about anybody who spent more than 5 minutes with me during my senior year of high school, but now I was being forced into a situation where I had to prove I wasn't depressed, otherwise they'd think I was gonna be a school shooter. Or at least that's what I thought would happen. So I tried to talk myself out of it by saying, "Oh no, you misunderstood. The film is just supposed to be a dark comedy. I'm not depressed, I'm not suicidal, I don't want to hurt anybody. I've just got a twisted sense of humor and I thought this film would be funny." And then they played the final scene of the film where I kiss Duane and then kill myself. And then my fucking English teacher who ran film club asks me, "Are you feeling depressed because you feel like you can't be open about your sexuality?" And at this point I'm thinking, what in the fuck? Are you even legally allowed to ask me shit like that? What the fuck? So I say, nah, it's just a character. Not everything somebody writes is autobiographical. You're the English teacher. Shouldn't you understand this basic shit? Okay, so I didn't exactly say that, but it was something close enough. Anyway, I spent the next 20 minutes defending myself and trying to prove that the piece was just a work of fiction, but those motherfuckers ended up calling my parents to say they thought I was suicidal, and then my English teacher canceled film club since the president, me, premiered such an inappropriate film, which, to be fair, I did do that. The sad thing is, I was really close with that English teacher, which is why I asked her to endorse film club in the first place. But after she tried to accuse me of being a suicidal danger to my classmates because of a shitty movie I made, our relationship was pretty fucked. And that's the story of the edgy short film I made in high school that almost got me expelled. I guess the moral of the story is, If you want to make edgy art, wait until you're out of high school. Because high school teachers are literally fucking retarded, which is why they're teaching high school. College, on the other hand, is a great place to do edgy shit. I was an English major, and my senior project was my edgy school shooter book, The Triflers, and the entire English department read it and loved it, and I got a B+. So yeah, go be edgy in college. If you're in high school, keep that shit PG, or else they'll call your parents and accuse you of being a closet homosexual.